All right, here we go. If you watch my videos, you know I'm a very enthusiastic person, and my entire goal is to bring you as much value as I possibly can. And I hate making downer videos, but I've been gifted this platform, I've been given an audience, so now it's time to say some things y'all need to hear, and I want you to hear me all the way through. All right, so the producer community at large is incredibly toxic, period. And it needs to change. If you go join a private community of producers on Facebook, in a group, or any other platform like that, 90% of them are toxic. There are some exceptions, so before you go crucify me in the comments, there are exceptions. But most are a place of nonstop bashing, nonstop snobbery. And they're usually not a very positive place for producers to learn and grow. So we have these aspiring producers who are trying to learn and grow. They share their music for feedback, or they ask a question because they are beginners and they have questions. And what happens? They get told they're stupid or dumb, or told they're asking really lame questions, or the question is answered in the most snarky or semi-sarcastic way possible. So, quick question for those of you who do this. Were you not a beginner at one time too? Like, were you not the same person asking those dumb questions at some point too? Were you not the person who didn't know what gear to get, or how to record the simplest of things, or how to even quantize MIDI, or any number of things? As I've grown my audience here, I get slammed in the comments sometimes. And fortunately for me, I'm confident in what I'm doing. I know where I came from, I know where I'm going, and I know the value that I bring this community, and I know that I'm doing what I can to be a source of positivity and a way for aspiring producers to feel like they can do it. But to say that comments like these don't sometimes get to me would be dishonest, and I would be lying. Why? Because I'm still a human being, and I'm not some random avatar behind a screen. Here's the problem. We say things to other people in social media comments that we would never otherwise say to someone in person, face to face. Because guess what? The ramifications are minimal. I mean, after all, you're just a keyboard warrior. You can type out snarky comments. You never have to deal with seeing the pain in the other person's face when they read it, because it's all anonymous or behind a screen. How does that make you feel? Feel better after doing that? You feel strong? You feel smart? You know what I see? It's gonna be harsh. I see cowards. I see people who are so desperate for attention and recognition that they'll happily tear each other apart to satisfy their own intense craving to feel good about themselves. Because after all, if you rip someone else apart, at least it's not you. The irony in all of this is many of these same people that comment this are the same people that have spent insane amounts of money on their home studio, like the $50,000 home studio, all the while hiding behind that same gear because they know their music actually isn't that good. But then when someone posts a picture of their humble studio setup in their closet, and their music is actually really good, that person I mentioned before with the $100,000, $50,000 studio, they drool over their own ego to happily tear the studio closet producer apart at the seams. Well done. You just ruined someone's day. But at least you feel better about yourself. At least you justified your own decisions. And it's these same people who complain, who whine, who lament over the fact that they don't have more followers, they don't have more fans, or they don't have more recognition, or don't have more people praising them. But yet, they're the first to throw a stone. I wish I didn't need to make this video. I wish this was like common sense enough that we should support each other instead of ripping each other apart, but it's crazy. Believe it or not, this is not a zero-sum game. Someone else's success is not stealing anything from you. In fact, I found that being friends with those who are more successful than me actually pulls me up. For example, Alex Rome and I spend time on the phone encouraging each other and bouncing ideas off of each other in Forrest Whitehead, and I do the same. Alex has a bigger channel than me. Forrest has a smaller channel than me. It doesn't matter. I learn a lot from Alex, and I learn a lot from Forrest, and they learn from me too. And they each are better at things than I am. Forrest is a Grammy-nominated producer with hit records. I'm not a Grammy-nominated producer with hit records. I'm just some guy in a studio who decided to make these videos for you and found out I was really good at it, and it brought you value, so I continued, and it's since forever changed my life. Thank you for that, by the way. But you want to know something? The very first viral video that I ever made now has over 1 million views, which is crazy. It's also the first video that I started getting hate comments, like noticeably. I was getting comments ripping me apart saying I was this or that, not legit or whatever. And for that first week after publishing that video, it got 100,000 views. Wow, Nathan, that's amazing. You wanna know how I actually felt? I felt like crap. Because for every 10 comments saying that they loved the video, there was 1 or 2 that said that they hated me, where there were hateful comments, mean comments, nasty comments. So let me be transparent and honest with you. I spent time that first week in tears. I remember going to my parents' house. They lived just like a few minutes away from me and my family. And my mom could tell something was off, and she and I spent time together, and I cried. I cried because I just could not understand how people could be so awful. I mean, for real, it was just a fun video I thought would bring people joy, right? That people would just like, not for something for people to come out of their dark hole to tear me apart. I'm a human being. Believe it or not, I have a wife, I have 2 kids, I have a pretty normal life. And all the millions of other producers who are getting shredded to pieces in these online communities because of a bloodthirst for toxicity, they're normal too. How is it that producers can be the first to be butthurt over not getting recognition, but they're also the first to immediately stab their peers in the back? I used to be involved in many online producer groups, and I'm not anymore. And it's because there are almost always a big number of people in there who see themselves as the great overseers, to be the first to shred any poor soul who dares ask a dumb question. This has got to stop. Like, this has to change. And it's got to start with you. It's got to start with you making a choice. You have to choose to stop playing a part in this. Choose to stop accepting this is how it is. And for those who have a leadership role in these communities and have a leadership role online, it's time for you to speak out too and crack down on this garbage. Stop giving these people a voice. Ironically enough, most of these people have done absolutely nothing. They're not making content. They're not sharing content. Right? They're not making valuable material for others. They aren't producing artists or making music for brands or doing licensing or anything else. They're mostly random people on the internet who have nothing better to do. It turns out that those of us who are creating for real and making a living for it, we don't have time for that crap. May that also be an encouragement for those who get these comments. Most of these people commenting have nothing better to do and are cowards. The people who are actually making waves and doing big things don't have time for that. Most of us in this industry know that friends are made by being supporters and enemies are made by being haters. It's a small industry, believe it or not, it's a small industry. And it's an industry based around relationships. So if you're one of those people doing this crap I'm talking about, that's a great way of shutting yourself out of the industry and not bringing yourself into it. Artists don't want to work with producers they see trashing on other producers. That's just a fact. Production houses don't want to hire composers and producers who have a bad reputation, because word gets out. The more you comment and the more you expose yourself to be selfish and condescending, the less likely you will be in accomplishing the very things you say you want to accomplish, because you are digging your own grave. And listen, I have said and done things that I deeply regret. I think we all have, right? Like, I've drug other people through the mud before, and I deeply, deeply regret it. Because one harsh word can destroy an entire foundation. And it is much harder to build it back up once you've done that than it is to start on the right foot. First impressions matter, so make it count. I want you to comment down below and just say you're tired of it. Say you're done with it. Let's link our arms together and stop allowing this to continue. I'll see you in the next video.